All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So this is a sector I've been looking at for the last couple weeks, and this seems like the nicest sector strength and sector unison in quite some time now, right? So looking at Regati, you can see the last week especially, right? All about that 20 moving average. Couldn't. Nice little escape, and hopefully it confirms, right? QBTS, you can see it. This thing's actually been under the 8 and the 20, under the 8 and the 20. All of a sudden, we see that same trying to get over that we just saw right there. IONQ just been stuck in the lines, stuck in the lines, stuck in the lines. Seems like it's trying to escape just like those other ones. What's another one? QSI we're going to look at, right? It was stuck for sure. All of a sudden, we're taking off, but just dojis and red candles and no good confirmations. Nice last 2 days, like I said, kind of like we just saw with almost everything behind us, right? I think QS was arguably the best one in the group, but really in a lot of ways this peaked up here and we're down here right now, right? So that's not what we like our charts to look like. However, there's actually a lot more good than bad going on right now, especially if you kind of just focus on the big day as the 50% candle moment, and obviously still staying over the 8, right? I'll make that make way more sense. I could tell as I was saying those words, I was trying to compact like 4 sentences into like 6 words and didn't go that well. But there is more good than bad right here, even though it kind of looks like we pumped and dumped on volume. That's probably the nicer thing I could have said right there. Did I look at QUBT? I don't think so, no, and I saved this one last maybe for a reason, though it was on accident actually. This is arguably the best one out of all of them, all right? This has actually broken all 5 and flown. And really, it's been more than a month now, right? So where all the other ones, right, like Regati, basically in a downtrend during that, but more than anything, stuck in the lines, right? QBTS, which we've kind of arguably have said this one is maybe number 1 in the sector, right? Stuck in the lines, right? And I'm not going to go through all of them again, but QUBT hasn't been stuck in the lines. This thing actually broke all 5 and flew, driven on earnings and just riding the 8 and the 20 like a champion, right? So this one is what we wanted the rest to look like. This one really, hopefully, is something the rest can start to mimic. And as I'm zooming in and looking at the immediate, this one might actually still be hungry for more, right? So a lot to like as I'm looking at the sector strength, all right? A lot to like as I'm looking at the best of the charts and really the similarities of the other ones. And then what's obviously amazing is the index itself, right? So since this is quantum, since this is heavy tech, as long as QQQ looks good, that's the exact same mirror image of NASDAQ, right? As long as this looks good, we're happy. This looks good, right? We are over all 5 moving averages. We have for sure golden cross that 50 over those, right? It looks like the 8's actually taking a nicer, steeper, climbing on up. Slope was the word I couldn't get out of my head, but the slope is getting better and better. Oh man, there's a lot to like right here, right? That's a decent, I'm going to use the word decent because that was a beautiful last week candle, and that's a decent this week candle. And remember, there was no trading on Friday. Thursday was a short day. That's not a full complete week. And normally with those, you get a lot of fear, right? I say this jokingly, but it's very true. What happens if one of the CFOs of this company gets caught in the Cayman Islands with like bags of money and blah blah blah, right? All of a sudden, there's enough time for everyone to get the news and everyone to panic on the day of it open, right? So generally speaking, it's kind of scary to hold over long days, but NASDAQ didn't care, right? QQQ didn't care. Very small wick up here. It's not like there was a big run and then a big sell. It's a pretty minimal sell from the top right there, right? So I'm loving what QQQ looks like. Again, it's an exact same mirror of NASDAQ, right? Very, very minimal wick up there. It's not like there was a big dump on the tech sector, right? Nah, people pretty much held through the long weekend, ready for Monday. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to like as I'm looking into these, right? So, um, yeah, I think that's a decent opening thought right there. So, before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. Do I have any up there? No, but I do have some horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into it. And look, if you saw the opening thoughts, I've been generally like chaptering this as a single, right? Because to me, I've always found the quantum sector to move really well together, and it's just kind of our job to pick them, pick the best one. And when you look at them all as a whole, that's kind of the easiest way to do that. So that is actually why I do that. But I, in the opening thoughts, and I'll give you more details here. I just went through all the moving averages. All right. What I want to start on is the volume. All right. This isn't fantastic volume, especially. Ooh. Excuse me, I need water, sorry. Oh, something went down the wrong pipe. We've been missing that 50-day line by a lot, actually, right there, right? Let's look at QBTS. Still really completely missing the 50-day line, right? IONQ, you could say it's living there. You can maybe even say it's a little better than Rigotti, but by no means is it fantastic. By no means is it what we remember it being at the end of last year, right? So not good. And believe me, as I go through all of them, QSI, again, not bad. I'm seeing some decent, but it's not over and sustained and blah 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 and all the stuff I'm about to say, right? QS maybe is an interesting different one, and obviously that had a bigger pop, so maybe that's why some at least interest has been there. This one's kind of been over the line, obviously really well those days, right? QUBT, I said at the beginning, at the end of the opening thoughts, really, right? But though this one's been the best one, it had some good days over it, but really, again, especially in the last couple bits, it hasn't been over the 50-day line, right? So volume is what's been missing here, all right? And as important as everything up here is, and again, it really is, I start up here for a reason, right? What's really going to take all of these to the next level is getting more than their average line of volume, right? And I'll definitely talk about the numbers that I need them to hit, but oh man, I'm liking the setups going into Monday. I'm liking the NASDAQ going into Monday. Hopefully the combo of those and a good confirmation candle will give us what we need, okay? All right, cool. So with that, again, I like what we're seeing here, right? This thing has been struggling to get over the 20 moving average. Really, I mean, you can say since here, right? This was the last good green one, but just fell right under and then couldn't, right? So not a bad one too. Obviously, I would have liked this candle to get confirmed by a bigger, better candle. The one thing I have to at least keep saying in the back of my head, it wasn't a complete trading day on Thursday, right? Like this candle doesn't care that there was more trading hours here than here, right? So maybe if we had more time, if there were more hours, maybe we would have continued. I also would say if there was an extra day, if we knew Friday wasn't going to be closed and, a potential let's get rid of it day, like that would have also impacted a lot, right? So I'm kind of taking that into consideration. But look, That's at least a not bad at all. I see it dropping a little bit after hours. I do, but I'm going to kind of ignore that in all honesty. What I care about is the open. What I care about is the confirmation. What I care about is the best couple days over the 20 moving average and really over the 8 and the 20 in a while, right? The other technical thing to talk about is the 50. The 50 is a strong line. It's a very, very difficult line to break up. It's actually supposed to be a very, very difficult line to lose down. And that's kind of what we saw here, right? We almost lost it here, almost lost it here. No, no, no. They were just bounce, bounce, goes, right? So what is a tough line up is a good support down, and that is actually what we saw right there, right? So seeing some good technical things here, liking the MACD, liking the RSI, very, very healthy under 60, nice positive and divergence, right? We got green over red on both. We like that. Again, we just need the volume, right? I would want probably something around here, basically around 80 to 90 million shares. Let's use 85. We can go in the middle, right? 85 million shares divided by a 7-hour trading day. We need around 12 million shares per hour. Okay, if we can get us around 24, 25 million shares by that second hour, oh, we're going to be in a real good place for this thing to actually confirm and go, right? Let's draw some lines up because we don't have anything there. What is 50% of that? Oh, that's an important line right there. Look, I don't think that's a good 50%, but it's actually almost the top of that, almost the top of that. This 1365 is a very important number right there. And then really, if we can get over that, that's going to be our next golden line right there, right? So dun, dun, dun. Because again, if we go on the weekly, there is nothing over that, right? So to me, this is the next leg right here. If we get over 1365, our next target is actually basically 18 bucks. Maybe there's something right there, not quite the top of that, not quite the bottom of that, just a little bit below and in between. Maybe there's something at 16, but really I think from here to here is going to be the next target. Break that 18 and so much good's going to happen, right? This is bullish as low as 1230. Really, we don't want to go under 1230. If we do, it might actually drop pretty quickly to 12 right there. All right. As we look at QBTS, look, this thing hasn't been that pretty, right? It made a real good run right there with earnings. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but volume just quickly went away. We are literally 90% lower than that 300 plus million share day right there, sitting under 30 million shares, right? So volume, just the rug got pulled. But hey, we never really lost the 8 and the 20, right? Bad candle, bunch of dojis, bad candle, bunch of dojis. All of a sudden, we're right back over them, right? So this is at least a decent reattempt. And in a lot of ways, this took that high 88 RSI, if you're looking in the box over there, all the way back down to a very realistic 15. My goodness, that's a crazy low RSI, but nonetheless, resets it, right? So if we can get over that line, I think 1750 is a real good line. Is that an all-time high line? Oh man, yeah, let's just draw that then real quick. This is pretty low. I think I'm going to raise that. Hopefully we don't regret that later. But get me over 1750. We're just going to draw it right there a little closer to 1760. Where's your actual 50%? No, I think that's a little too low, but maybe that's a good line. We'll do it right there. I like 1750. Get over 1750. I'll call it all-time highs. I'll start to believe. Again, we literally have been under the 50-day average line for what, the majority of a month and a half, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more weeks. That's a month and a half right there, right? So that's not good. You need volume to do amazing things. I think with the sector setup, hopefully that starts to bring more attention here. Hopefully we get the volume we need. I think the volume that we need is around 120. That's a big number. But yeah, maybe we'll call it $110. Let's call it 100 and let's do 115 million shares, because what was my original number? I don't want to lower it. We said 120. We then went to, let's do 115. I like that. 115 million shares. in a 7 hour day, we need, was that the same number as the last one? Kind of close to it, right? We need around 16 million shares. We need around 30 million shares in that second hour, right? That's what QBTS needs. Listen, if this falls down to 1550, that's where things will start to get scary. Again, I see it dropping a little bit after hours. I'm not concerned about that. Let's see how it opens and goes, right? So, cool. IONQ, same basic setup, right? I think with these three, the theme is, look, it's definitely been, and I mean, I guess I should really zoom back and kind of call it out at least from right there, right? But what's been happening is there've just been too many of these just stuck in the lines, right? Just good run, ended up coming back, couldn't quite get out of it. It now seems like we're trying to get out of it, right? So that's going to be the line right there. Is that an all-time high line? There's a nice little theme going on right here, right? If they can each pretty much get over their next resistance or two, you're talking about a golden line break and an all-time high run, right? And that's a good thing to look at, especially if it's echoed across the entire sector, right? So we might be talking all-time highs for a lot of these tickers if they can get over their last resistance, if they can escape that last moving average, if the NASDAQ can continue, right? And kind of looks like things are pointing to goodness there, right? As long as we're not missing it, right? So that's the line right there. Get over that 45.25, and all I can really think is all-time highs. This thing is technically bullish as low as 42.80. Really? No, let me say it a different way. This thing is very bullish under, as long as it holds 42.50, 42.60, okay? This thing is technically bullish. I'm going to raise that line. Basically at 39, at a high 39, looking at 39.70 right now, right? I really wouldn't want to fall from 44 to 39. That's basically a 10% loss right there, right? But that's not horrible, especially if you're thinking about all-time highs right there, right? But hopefully we never go lower than that 43.25, right? And really the goal is break 45.25 and run, right? So just got to talk about both the good and the bad, and the up and the down, right? So that's a good 1, 2, 3. Let's talk about, okay, maybe I'll chapter it right here. I think that's an interesting 1, 2, 3 right here. These next three, I kind of feel like, nah, maybe QSI is even in the other one. I'll still keep it here, but I feel like those first three, and arguably this one as well, just they've been stuck in the lines. They've been stuck in the lines. Try to go, and then I don't know, right? Maybe I'm just expecting these old like quantum crazies, and like I'm a little jaded and unhappy with really what's actually been a pretty nice move if you're looking at it, right? But um, it's been stuck in the lines, right? And I think again, what's been bothering me and why I keep saying stuck in the lines is Nasdaq actually hasn't. Maybe you can kind of call that stuck in the lines. I don't know, right? But Nasdaq's been taking off, and Nasdaq's been taking off, and like I think I'm expecting more. I don't know. Like I said, that might be what it is, right? But I like this right here, right? We had a good attempt over that resistance line that I drew, right? We had a good attempt at taking off from the 8 and the 20. All of those are just doji candles that don't confirm anything, but 20 moving average does its job. It holds it. Boom, we're right back over, and we use that 8 moving average like a champ to bounce up, right? So I am liking that. And again, there's such a monster gap between down here and up here. We're basically at that gap fill border, and really we're at the biggest candle to the left right now, right? So big green, 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 red, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing. If we can get over this little tranche right here, as long as we're holding that 8 moving average, this one definitely is one that I've been watching, because again, that's a lovely channel if we can start heading up, right? Next line would basically be maybe around 240. Maybe it'll come to that top of those, and 50% of that thing right there, 240. I don't think it's worth drawing, in all honesty. I think if it can get there, our RSI is low enough, and Nasdaq could be good enough to actually take us over that into here, right? The one difference between QSI and those other ones is this one's nowhere near all-time highs, right? Where all of those were near a new golden line, this one obviously still has another resistance over that, right? I'm not thinking about $4 right now. This is still a $2 stock, so let's take it line by line. But hey, even if we only got from here to here, you're basically talking about a 50% move, adding a dollar on a stock that only has two of them, right? So QSI is definitely one that I'm looking at. Um, what else is there? Let's look at QS. I think QS is a good one to look at. And then QUBT is where I'm going to end. I think I covered all of them that I wanted to, actually. So QS, look, to me, there are some technical things happening here, all right? I don't know what caused that. I'll be real honest. I don't know why volume went from 30 million all the way up to, 150 plus, right? That's a 5x right there, just quick math right there, right? So it obviously, in hindsight, looks like a pump and dump. We went from down here all the way pumping up there, dumping right back to reality, right? What's good is the stock didn't do the same thing. The stock did pump, sure, but it did some important things in my eyes. Number one, it pretty much held that line right there. That line is 50% candle, give or take, of this big one right here, right? So that's a scary candle down to it, but you can see it pretty much holds it to the penny, right? Interesting doji the next day. It doesn't confirm it by any means. People were let's see what happens the next day. We then go below it, which obviously is not a good thing, which honestly in a lot of ways is a scary answer to that doji. But again, what matters more than my simple little human lines are these computer generated moving averages, right? And hey, we never lost the 8, and that alone has so much value, right? So we never lose the 8. All of a sudden we're right back over that resistance that we were worried about, right? So to me, the next logical place is to retest up here. I think we're going to try to come back to 765. If we break 765, oh, interesting. I think I got a low. Wow, I see what I did. I see what I did. So I wasn't sure if I should lower the line to like here, but really that is an important line right there. So I'm going to draw, I want to see what this looks like. I'm basically taking the top of that. Yeah, look at that. It's almost a half of that, bottom of that, almost the top of that, almost the bottom of those. I think these are our lines right here, okay? So if, okay, so 820. How do I say this? How do I say this? Give me a sec. What's this line right here? Oof, we're basically right there. What did you open at? 815. No, hold on. This one. You opened at 705. If this gets over 705, I'll do a 709 alert. Why not? If this gets over 705, which is the bottom of this right here, I'm clicking right here. Green, 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 red, 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 nothing, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. I think we might fly to 820. All right. That's a oops, what did I do? There we go. It's a very healthy. Well, let's do it like that. No. Okay, sorry. I zoomed in and that's blah, blah. It's OCD things. I like that 69 RSI. We are very, very far away from 80. I think there's a good chance that we actually make that pop from 702 to 820 right there, right? Again, with that 805 being the line we 705, excuse me, 705 is the line we have to get over. If we don't get over that 705 line, I can see us maybe coming down to 780, if not maybe down here to 660. But again, I like the sector. I like the NASDAQ. I think more signs are pointing to a move to 8 than a drop back down to the 660 right there. QS, liking it. And then I'm going to wrap it up with QUBT. Again, arguably to me, this has been the nicest one. This has been, again, arguably to me, the one that's mimicked the QQQ move the best right there, right? Literally that same screen right there is almost the QUBT move right there, right? So there's just so much to like, right? We broke all 5 and we actually did fly when you 2x it. I don't know what else you would call that aside from fly. Like a champion, we bounce on the 8, slip just a little bit, but hey, the 20's always been there, and look at it. We haven't even technically wicked it yet. right? So 20 is right there when it needs to be, and it never even needs to use it. It is actually holding the 8 like a champion. And like I said in the opening thoughts, we had a really high RSI. We came down to a relatively very healthy RSI at 55. All of a sudden, we're at a beautiful 61 and ready to continue on up, right? So a lot to like right here, and really we're knocking on the door of another all-time high run right there, right? Like this should be the golden line in all honesty. I guess we can say that that's the new golden line right there. I'll just draw it just in case. Get me over 2240. I was previously clicking on 2230. Again, we're not here for perfect. Get over that, and all of a sudden, all I can think about is another 20% after 20% after 20%, right? So this one seems like the best in the sector. I like the entire sector. I like the NASDAQ. Again, I like to group the sector for a reason. I think our job is to look at which one's going to do the best. I think what's going to dictate it is the volumes. I feel like I stopped giving the volume lines that I needed to. Shoot me a comment if I forgot, because I'm already at 25 minutes here. Hey, thank you so much for your time. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, I appreciate you so, so much.